Hola amigos!
Hello.
I don't know why I'm starting this such an upbeat tone because it's not a very upbeat video. So today we are talking about whether or not suicide is selfish. We'll share our views, we'll talk about other people's views, and we will hopefully come up with a watchable video. If that's even a word. Is watchable a word? I don't think it is. I think I just made it up. I'll put that in Oxford Dictionary. Someone sort that out for me, please. So yeah, I'll start with, a lot of people say that suicide is selfish, and in my opinion, suicide isn't selfish. It's usually a death caused by an illness, emphasis on illness rather than choice, because that illness just so happens to be a mental illness, but it's no different from dying of cancer or anything else really. Like, it's still an illness and it can be life-threatening. Some people manage it better than others, just like they do with other illnesses. But mental illness is a physical illness because it's your brain that's affected and that's part of your body. Do you agree?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, people talk about mental illness is equal to physical illness, but they don't realise that mental illness is physical illness.
It's still an organ in your body.
It's still a part of your body. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
And to be fair, yeah, it's caused by an illness. It's the final symptom, the final crumble under an unbearable weight and an indescribable amount of pain, and it's the final symptom of depression. It just so happens to be.
It's not always depression though, it can be other things as well.
Yeah, definitely, but the main cause of suicide is depression.
Yeah.
There's many other reasons, but I'm not trying to talk about stereotypes, but I'm trying to make it a majority thing, if that makes sense, so that, do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And yeah, so suicide's a tragedy, but it's by no means a selfish act. The truth is, most people who contemplate killing themselves feel like they have no other choice, and they actually feel like they'd be doing their family, their friends, and the whole fucking world a favour. They're not doing it and thinking, do you know what, I'm gonna fuck up my mum's life. You know what, I'm gonna fuck up my aunt or cousin or friend or schoolmate or workmate or whatever. They're not thinking that,
Yeah,
or very rarely.
Thinking rationally.
Yeah, a lot of the time there's no rational thinking there.
It's the overwhelming thought in your mind. It's the only thing your brain can physically think about at that time.
And there are other conditions that make it, not, I wouldn't say worse, because you can have just one issue and it still be very serious, but there are other conditions that sort of exacerbate it. So for example, I've got ADHD and EUPD, both of which cause impulsive behaviour. So I can, obviously the EUPD affects the mood swings, and to be fair, so does ADHD, because I go from 0 to 100 and 100 to 0, that's part of my autism as well. But EUPD really affects your emotions and can make you go from like really happy to really sad, and it's not like, people think that's bipolar, but bipolar isn't an adjective.
It's like a roller coaster really, isn't it?
Well, I personally think that BPD is sort of like, or EUPD, it's sort of like bipolar but faster.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
I think that's why my diagnosis is differential at the
minute,
because they just don't know, because
working it out.
Yeah.
Because like with bipolar, mood swings can go on for like longer periods of time, but with BPD or EUPD, they happen a lot quicker. And so anyway, what I was trying to say was, with both my EUPD and my ADHD, I act impulsively, so a thought pops into my head and it's done before I even know I've thought it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, I'll do something without even knowing I'm going to do it, and then next thing I know I've done it and I'm like, shit. So that applies to buying things, that applies to self-harm, that applies to drinking, that applies to eating, anything, like going on day trips randomly. I don't even know I'm going to do it until I've done it. And it's like, my brain works so fast, and because of that, when I'm feeling low, I often don't know I'm actually gonna try do something to myself until I come round in hospital, and I don't really remember making the decision to do it, or it's very hazy, and that can be down to dissociation, as you know, but also there's an element of your brain just sort of goes into autopilot and you make a decision without really realising the consequences. So that definitely makes suicidal tendencies worse, because you can, or even just not even with those conditions, just emotional dysregulation. Say if you're just going under a broad umbrella and it's not an actual diagnosis, if your emotions aren't regulated, you're going to act impulsively because your brain's out of whack, basically.
I think like with most people, they say stereotypically it's when you're depressed that you're gonna have these like suicidal tendencies, but also like when you're manic as well, it can be just as dangerous.
Definitely.
That they don't see suicide as like a way out, but more of it's like an impulse.
Yeah.
Like bam, I can survive this, or like I'm gonna impulsively do this, but you're not thinking about it, it just happens.
You don't think I'm gonna impulsively do this, but you just sort of do it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Sorry, I've put you off track.
Yeah, sorry. When someone ends their life, and a lot of people call this committing suicide, but I don't think committing is the right word, because it's not really a crime. Well, it isn't a crime.
It's also not a commitment. Really.
No, it's not.
You don't think of it as a commitment.
No, and when that happens, everyone always is there saying they didn't see the signs, in inverted commas, but the signs are usually there. Thing is, people talk about how amazing the person is and how they've lost the battle and everything, but if somebody tells someone they're feeling suicidal, a lot of the time people run the opposite way.
Seriously.
Yeah, a lot of people just don't think it's a problem, or think they're attention seeking. And the thing is, even if someone is attention seeking, not that everyone is, it's not a bad thing, and B, it means there's something wrong with them, because they obviously haven't had the right support, whether it's in their childhood or adulthood or teenage years. They haven't had that attention they needed. B, they have other problems and they just can't cope, so they feel the need to reach out for help, but they don't know how to ask for help, so they do silly things, not silly, but dangerous things, and that's how they ask for help. But branding someone as an attention seeker isn't going to get you anywhere except their funeral. And that's the truth. That is the God's honest truth, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's that. That's all about saying on attention seekers, or what's deemed to be attention seekers. I've been called an attention seeker before for cutting myself, and what they don't realise, or even for talking about mental health online and stuff, what they don't realise when they're telling someone that because they're talking out it's selfish, or attention seeking or whatever, is they don't realise how long it's taken that person to muster up the courage to reach out for help. Does that make sense?
I think a lot of the time as well, attention seeking is more care seeking.
Yeah.
It's like, not to put it in like a very like stereotypical way, but it's kind of a cry for help really most of the time.
Yeah.
People are like, well, I'm just going to openly say these things, and if people take me seriously, then good. And if they don't, well, that's their problem, kind of thing.
For me, I sometimes think if they do something about it, great, because I'll feel better. If they don't, great, because I'll die. Either way, it's a win-win situation in my depressed head or my poorly head in any way. And I think, like, how do I explain this? So, for example, when I was just before my first admission for my anorexia, when I was really poorly, I did want to die, but at the same time there was a part of me that thought, someone do something, take this control out of my hands, because I can't cope with it anymore. I either die or I get better, but I can't live in this middle ground of hell. And I just wanted someone to take the decision out of my hands, because I wanted to die, but I didn't want to kill myself because I didn't want to hurt my family. And I couldn't live the way I was, but I was also petrified of eating and drinking more and looking after myself and not exercising and gaining weight. And it was sort of like, just do something for me, look after me, treat me like a child, do everything you can to look after me and make me feel better. And I saw this thing on Facebook the other day, I don't know if I shared it and tagged you in it, I think I did, and it said, if someone you love, like your significant other or your best friend or your mum or whatever, is severely depressed or having a bad mental health time, like struggling mentally, then treat them like they've got like a sickness bug or a flu. Take care of them, bring them their favourite snacks, watch films with them, hold them, cuddle them, love them. And that works in the short term. It's not a long-term thing, is it? But in the short term, that is enough.
Or just simply ask them if they're okay.
Yeah, even that's enough at times.
If you've got, like, if you live with people, just make them a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Just literally, quickly smile at them, or wave at them, or give them a hug, or just literally say, "Are you okay?" And that can do everything.
That can make a difference.
That could literally be someone's reason to live at some point.
Literally. And that's all I've got to say on this topic.
Yeah.
We're going to do a video on Cerys' channel. What's the video on?
Eating disorders.
Yeah. And we both suffer from eating disorders, so it'll be an interesting one.
Yeah.
So head over to Cerys' channel, like, share, subscribe, all that jazz. She's done an introduction video, and I shared that on my Twitter, which is Ali Tolley, ALITOLLEY. So yeah, check us out. Bye.